Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for our fourth and final game of the 2019 Mustang Preseason Classic. Please welcome our guests from Lake Brantley High School. They are the Patriots. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Lake Brantley, and we'll start at guard with 6'1" senior number 0, Isaac Ogando. At forward, 6'2" senior number 11, Colton Williams. At guard, 5'9" senior number 23, Julian Belter. At wing, 6'1" junior number 33, Declan McFadden. And finally, for the Patriots, at center, 6'7" sophomore number 34, Jack Klinger. And the head coach of the Patriots in his 16th year at Lake Brantley, Mr. Mike Cuff. And now let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting for the Mustangs at small forward, 6' junior number 1, Donovan Stokes. At point guard, 5'10" sophomore number 3, Jamarick Hammond. At shooting guard, 5'10" junior number 4, Quantary Robertson. At small forward, 5'10" junior number 11, Jared Bryan. And finally for the Mustangs at power forward, 6'2" junior number 12, Nikhil Edward. The head coach of the Mustangs, Mr. Jacino Lubin. The officials for tonight's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. Tonight's game is being live streamed on YouTube as well as the NFHS network. If you have friends and family who are not able to join us in person tonight, well, we can't imagine why they're not here, but that's okay. They can join us virtually. Just have them visit using their favorite mobile device, computer, or smart TV. Search for Wekiva Sports on the YouTube app, or if they subscribe to the NFHS network, we also simulcast all of our games there as well. Again, Wekiva Sports on YouTube or the NFHS network. And a special welcome to those of you who are joining us online. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs. I am joined by Neil Fisher of the Apopka Chief, and we'll be taking you through our fourth and final preseason contest here at Mustang Arena, wrapping up the preseason for the gentlemen. Mustangs are going to get the opening tip.
So thank you again, Mark. As always, fine introduction there. And you know, Mark, we begin the season, we talked about this Tuesday night against Lyman. This is a team with absolutely not only no starters, but no players who saw any significant time last season.
Traveling Patriots ball, and so not a good opening possession for the Mustangs there. Certainly we expect the Mustangs to be a little bit more challenged tonight by the Patriots than they were last night by the Greyhounds. Greyhounds lost under a running clock to both Apopka and Wekiva. And so the Mustangs will face probably a more significant test tonight of their preseason chops. We spoke last night, for those of you who missed that broadcast, about how very different this Mustang team is from the one that we last saw in February.
So, yeah, and again, Mark, to parlay on that, yes, it's a different team, but they played much better, even though you could say some of that had to do with the fact that Lyman, well, they're not really one of the better teams in the area. Nonetheless, they came out, and like you said, they put together a 35-point victory. I was particularly impressed with their field goal percentage. They made 4 of their first 5 field goals and shot about 55% for the game. And, of course, that's always a result of being able to move the ball well, getting a good flow.
Held ball, possession, Patriots. And so, yeah, Neil, when you have so many changes in the offseason, you really don't know what to expect when you come back from that. And while it was certainly a far from perfect game for the Mustangs, we saw a lot to like out of this overall very young team as Colton Williams scores on the inbound to open up the game. And certainly one of the things we saw the Mustangs need to work on is their stamina and their focus. We saw them really explode out of the gate, which is actually kind of the opposite of what we've seen from them in past seasons, where they've gotten into a hole and then had to come back from that. They exploded out of the gate, had some really sharp play in the opening minutes, and then had to really suffered, I think, in the second quarter as they kind of ran out of gas for a little while, had to tank up again at halftime. We saw the Greyhounds start to come back. So hopefully the Mustangs will have an answer for that tonight.
So again, another missed field goal. Wekiva yet to make one. They have got some good looks here.
That 1-3 won't go for the Patriots either. Jared Bryan gets the rebound, goes to the corner. 3 look from Roberson, not going to go. Rebound goes to McFadden.
So both teams here, I'd probably say on the colder side, we got a total of 7 field goals. Only 2 have fallen. Actually, only 1 has fallen.
Miss here by the Patriots. Rebound goes to Stokes.
So the 3 players who came back who were on last year's team are Donovan Stokes, as you just mentioned him, Tristan Bryant, and Isaiah Laster.
Belter can't get it to go. Rebound to the Mustangs, Jared Bryan. Only 1 offensive rebound so far for each team in the opening 3 minutes, 25 seconds. And here, Q is going to get called for traveling Patriots ball. Still early yet. Not a lot of time elapsed, but you do like to see a little more on the offensive rebounding action from each team, really.
So, of course, Wekiva, they're just Coach Lubin. He's a man-to-man coach. We have yet to see him play anything else here over the course of 1 game and a change.
Colton Williams fouled on the attempt to go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Jamara Campbell on the push, his first and the team's first. White won the toss. There was a jump. Yeah, there should be. I had it right on the scoreboard. I don't know. It's right up on the scoreboard. I don't know what happened. He made that, right?
Yes. Getting some really strong rebounding there for Wekiva. Getting good position underneath the basket. And Hammond with the ball now. He's one of those players who's played a couple years in the Wekiva system as a freshman in JV, now caught up to the varsity level.
Jamaric Hammond puts the Mustangs on the board.
Nice job there by Hammond getting that corner and turning his body inward and getting that bank.
Swing to Belter. Tries to get around Hammond to the key. Floats one. Doesn't go. Rebound to Stokes. Mustangs try to get something done in transition, and they do. Caballero on the pass from Hammond.
Who scored? 12? 21. So there's another facet of Wekiva's game that they've come to be known for, the transition.
Offensive foul is called on number 34. Jack Klinger, his first, the team's first. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Isaiah Laster.
Is there any way you can move this over a little bit? So now Lake Brantley also going man-to-man here. Mike Cuff is just as much known for using man-to-man as Coach Lubin.
Nikhil Edward.
Who scored?
Foul called against number 3. Jamaric Hammond, his second, and the team's second.
Who scored? So Wekiva has yet to attempt a three-point field goal here. A bit of a surprise given how that they took 3 in their first 5 attempts on Tuesday night.
Basket by Jack Klinger, and we'll pause for a timeout. 30-second timeout requested by Wekiva.
Who made that last two?
34. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Not a high-scoring game, certainly not compared to the last one here. 6-5, 5.5 minutes into this ball game.
Yeah, Mark, but Wekiva has been shooting better possessions too. Of course, as soon as I say that, they turn
Belter makes the steal. Out to the corner. 3 will not fall.
So as I say, Wekiva missed its first 5 attempts. They're 3 of 4 since then, and they've scored the last 6 points.
Mustang basket scored by number 0, Tristan Bryan.
So, of course, Bryan is one of the 3 members of last year's team who are also on this year's. And now Wekiva's made 4 of their last 5 shots. Again, Wekiva's yet to attempt a tray.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 11, Jared Bryan.
course, Mark, you mentioned this at the beginning of the broadcast. Much bigger challenge, a stiffer challenge tonight with Lake Brantley as opposed to Lyman. Of course, both schools are over in Seminole. Lake Brantley, though, is always a team under Mike Cuff who is going to at least challenge for the division or the district championship and that automatic berth which into the FHSA postseason tournament.
Traveling Patriots ball.
So now 4 turnovers for Wekiva compared to 2 for Lake Brantley. Terry Robertson, pounding the ball carrier there. Seeing more and more, we saw more of the ball carrier be guarded in the front court as the last game went on.
Air ball from Ward for 3, and that was going to go out of bounds. So Lake Brantley really dominating the offensive rebounding in the last couple of minutes, but so far not being able to really convert much of that into points.
Yeah, remember, we talk about this a lot here at Wekiva. You know, you can get shots, you can get under, but you have to also have the right angle as far as how the body is lined up compared to the basket.
And so Jared Bryan throws that one away. Might have been too clever by half there.
Half a minute left here, Mark. I really say after the first couple minutes, after that initial feeling out stage, this game has really turned into a turnover for Wekiva versus Lake Brantley low field goal percentage.
Yeah, each of those stats really harming their respective teams, and that's why 13 points scored between these two teams in the opening 7 3/4 minutes here.
Yeah, Wekiva put up 13 points in like the first 2 minutes in the game against Lyman. Coach Lubin certainly is going to like that effort there. Obviously, a turnover is the end result there from.
Yeah, not a steal in the traditional sense, but Jaden Ward.
But Coach Lubin's going to also like the effort he gave. He did not give up on that ball as the first quarter comes to an end.
That takes us to the end of the first period. It's a low-scoring ball game, but a close ball game. 8-5, the Mustangs lead here at the end of the first quarter. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Partry, the voice of the Mustangs, here with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, taking you through this fourth and final game of our preseason classic. Low-scoring kind of game here to open up, and we're going to remedy that right here. 3-point basket for Jared Bryan on the pass from Tristan Bryan.
Who scored that? So great start there, as good as possible. Not only getting that 3-point field goal, but the underlying reasons, good ball movement.
3-point answer from Declan McFadden.
So 11-8 here early in the second quarter as we get another turnover. Again, the 7th of the game for Wekiva. They're starting to mount up here. So real quick, we're in the second period, but going back to what we mentioned about this being a completely new team in terms of the players, starting tonight was Donovan Stokes, Jamerick Hammond, Quanteri Robertson, Jared Bryan, and Nikel Edouard. Completely new names. So now, I did mention in that first quarter there that Hammond.
Declan McFadden steals 2 on the pass from Isaac Ogando.
So I mentioned in that first quarter that Hammond was one of those players who's really being counted on, not only just because he served his time on the freshman and JV level, but he's also, well, he's put in his time, and really it's now or never for him. You know, you play so much for a couple years at the freshman and JV levels, and then you put in the time where you should be ready to take that next step to the varsity. But if you really look at this roster, it's pretty much filled with those same stories there. Really only 2 players, and that's the freshmen, have not played, even though they haven't played at varsity, as we get a miss there, they have played at the freshman or JV level.
Push is called against number 4, Quanteri Robinson. That's his first, and the team's third. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 15, Prince Daniel.
So real quick, the 2 new players on this team, or at least 2 new to the Wekiva program, as far as never playing for Wekiva on any of the teams, that's Kerry Davis and Hampton Malachi. Both are shooting forwards. And again, Wekiva remains in man-to-man defense. Thought we had a steal there, Mark.
No, it's going to be a foul instead. Hold is called against number 33, Hampton Malachi. That's his first personal foul. The team's fourth.
Mr. Barchi, is Malachi Hampton?
So I just mentioned Hampton Malachi, and yes, we are aware of the mistake, putting the names out of order.
Malachi Hampton. We're still getting the roster cleaned up here.
Yeah. But my point is, Mark, that even though this is his first time he's seen any action on any team wearing a Wekiva uniform, he is actually getting quite a bit here in the preseason.
Hold is called against number 23, Julian Belter. That's his first and the team's third.
Malachi's playing a lot more than just when the game is out of reach. He's come in at critical moments in the game against Lyman, of course, tonight here early in the second quarter. So again, mentioned after about the first 2 minutes of the first quarter, that feeling out period, Wekiva really started to accumulate the turnovers. Lake Brantley got cold from the field, shooting below 30%. That trend has really continued here into the second quarter.
Machai Campbell from the paint for 2. And Neil, when you get that many offensive rebounds, eventually you're going to cash in on one of them, and Brantley takes their first lead of the night.
Yeah, 3 offensive rebounds there. I know Coach Lubin cannot be happy. That's one of his, one of those subtle stats.
Isaiah Laster for 3 on the pass from Malachi Hampton.
So offensive rebounds, giving up offensive rebounds, is one of those stats that really is not seen because points dwarfs it. But as you mentioned, Mark, if you don't get possession of the ball, you can't score. And we're seeing a couple more there. This time Wekiva was able to dodge the bullet. Really just cold shooting by like Brantley continuing. The only reason that we didn't get points on the board.
And no Mustangs in the neighborhood to go for an offensive board there. Wild three from Ogando goes wide, but still an offensive rebound and another opportunity. And another offensive rebound. Now, granted, Jack Klinger is the tallest guy on the court by probably 3 inches.
Yeah, you know, coaches talk about rebounding as a hustle stat, hustle play. So that's why coaches get really upset when their teams are getting out-rebounded, especially on the offensive end.
Jack Klinger on the pass from Ogando.
And there you really see, again, if you get enough offensive rebounds, you're going to eventually cash in. Really hard to stop that shot there. Height and weight were used to the advantage. So again, Lake Brantley also remaining in man-to-man. Another missed opportunity there by Wekiva. They've gone cold as well here from the field. Like you said, that was what really was keeping, allowed them to take the lead and then maintain that lead for most of that first quarter and into the first half of the second quarter.
So the foul there was called against Zach Weiss. It'll be his first. And Edouard loses the ball there. Campbell picks it up.
Yee.
Weiss can't get the three to fall.
Who is it on?
Mustang foul called on the loose ball against Nikhil Edouard, his first, the team's fifth.
And there again is another offensive rebound. It's not directly, but when you get that foul, basically you're fouling to avoid giving up the offensive rebound.
Yeah, that's essentially a team rebound if you foul on the loose ball.
So 3 more offensive rebounds on that series, on that possession. Lake Brantley's gone man-to-man the whole way here, as has Wekiva. However, they are picking up the players. Lake Brantley's picking up the Wekiva ball carriers at midcourt. 12. And drain the rain there, number 12.
Basket by number 12, Nikhil Edouard.
Again, great passing, setting up that field goal. And Wekiva needed that from a momentum standpoint. They've gone somewhat cold here over the last 5 minutes or so.
Campbell is way hot. Checking into the game for the Patriots, number 42, Frederick Wilson. And with Klinger coming off, that reduces the average height on the court by about an inch. Donovan Stokes falls away for 2.
Nice body control there, allowing him to get the right angle. And now Wekiva's picking up the ball carriers at 3/4 court.
Too much time in the backcourt. Mustangs ball.
And the result of picking up for the first time tonight 3/4 defense is the turnover there. Lake Brantley looked quite surprised.
Edouard swings to Laster. Mustangs going to wait this one out, maybe get the last word of the half in, unless they get a good look. And a turnover. Offensive charge taken by Asael Caballero and committed by Frederick Wilson. It's his first, the team's fifth, and it turns the ball over to the Mustangs.
So 17.1 seconds here. Wekiva with an 18-14 lead can really go into halftime with some momentum, making a statement and establishing a blueprint for what to do here in the second half.
And that takes us to halftime. The Mustangs will go into the locker room with a 4-point advantage. 18-14 is your score at intermission here in Game 4 of our 2019 Mustang Preseason Classic. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, ready to take you through a game that is, I would argue, at least a little bit more exciting than the score makes it look. But the Mustangs on top 18-14 at halftime, and Wekiva will have the opening possession of the third quarter.
Yeah, Mark, I think we've really seen exactly what this is supposed to be. That's a preseason game. Both teams with stretches of some pretty good play, looking cohesive, fluidic ball movement, and then some stretches where they couldn't hold on to the ball. And we come up with an 18-14 score here at halftime. Wekiva scored the last 6 points of the first half to take that lead. Both teams, of course, have exposed the opponent's weaknesses as well as been burned by their strength. Oh, almost had another turnover. That's really been a weakness of Wekiva. 9 turnovers here early. And now we do get a turnover, the first stat of the second half. Both teams have gone man-to-man the entire game here.
Felter swings back to Agondo to the corner. 3 will not fall for Williams, and the rebound goes to Edouard. So far no offensive production in the third quarter. 1 minute gone.
And neither team shooting the ball well. Wekiva actually had a stretch of about seven field goals where they made 6 as the first quarter came to an end and the second quarter began. Other than that, though, hasn't been any consistency. Nonetheless, Wekiva still, compared to Lake Brantley, looks like a world champion. They're shooting 38.1% from the field compared to 18.75 for Lake Brantley.
3-point basket for Nikhil Edouard to open up second half scoring.
And now a 7-point lead, the largest of the game for Wekiva.
Back-to-back 3 attempts won't go, and finally Edouard manages to wrestle one away. Brantley seems to be emboldened to take those low percentage threes because they are doing so well on the offensive rebounds.
Yeah, again, 18.75% from the field. That includes 1 of 15 from behind the arc. Ooh, an ugly shot there from Hammond.
The basket by Jared Bryan is good. He'll be at the line shooting for the 3-point play. The foul called against Colton Williams, his first and the team's first this half.
So Wekiva on the verge of going up by 10, the largest for either team. Again, they ended the first half with the 6 consecutive points. They started this quarter with the first 6, so a 12-0 run here. Looking at the other stats, as we mentioned, 38.1 for Wekiva from the field, 18.7 for Lake Brantley.
Jack Klinger picks up 2 for the Patriots.
20 rebounds in total for Lake Brantley, 20 for Wekiva also. But as you mentioned, Mark, offensive rebounding has been Lake Brantley's strength, 11 of them.
Hold is called against Mustangs number 12. Nikhil Edouard is second, the team's first this half.
Neither team has gone to the free throw line. As a matter of fact, Wekiva has yet to go. Lake Brantley 2 times made 1, and turnovers are 4 for Lake Brantley and 9 for Wekiva. Those are your halftime stats, and you clearly get the idea that this has developed into a contest between Lake Brantley's low field goal percentage and Wekiva turning the ball over.
Jared Bryan is called on the foul. It's his first, the team's second. It sends Declan McFadden to the line, shooting 2 for the Patriots.
You make both of those? So again, only the third and fourth free throw attempts by Lake Brantley for the entire game.
Bryan for three, won't go. And we're going to get a foul on the rebound. Foul's called against Jack Klinger, his second, the team's second. Hammond with a rough inbound. Edouard manages to get it under control. Mustangs will reset here. 3 minutes gone, 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. To the corner.
Lake Brantley again remaining man-to-man.
Isaiah Laster for three. The pass from Hammond.
So again, Isaiah Laster, one of three players who returned from last season's team, and sure saw the experience coming up there.
Jidden Ward answers with a three of his own for the Patriots. Roberson to the inside, nice pass. Q Roberson to Nikhil Edouard for a Mustang basket.
And Mark, I think you said that perfectly. Excellent pass there, opening up the shot.
Foul's called against number 11, Jared Bryan, his second, the team's third.
Wekiva remaining in man-to-man as well.
What happened?
Travel.
Oh.
Travel.
By who?
It was red. Number 11, I think.
So opportunity here for Wekiva to really extend that lead. Again, they established a pretty good blueprint for what they need to do to use their strengths. But they have yet to really be able to put Lake Brantley in a hole deficit-wise.
Back-to-back possessions ending in turnovers for the Patriots. And here, Jamaric Hammond is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot two for the Mustangs. Patriot foul is called on number 13, Jidden Ward. That's his second personal foul, the team's third.
So again, mentioned at the beginning of this quarter, Lake Brantley only had 4 turnovers. They have 3 here so far.
Two for two at the line for Hammond.
And now Wekiva is going with the man-to-man full court, paying dividends. Great defense there by Hammond.
Out of bounds. Mustangs ball. Yeah, Hammond, that's not a steal in the traditional sense, but he definitely caused that turnover to happen. And it pays off. Q Roberson for three. Patriots timeout. 30-second timeout is requested by Lake Brantley. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Quick break there. Coach Cuff not happy with what he's seeing in the last few minutes. That's a nice pass. Van den Driesch on the pass to Klinger for 2. Van den Driesch gets the rebound. Air ball. Mustangs are happy to let that one go out of bounds. Long shot from Laster. Almost went in, too. Rebound goes to Ogando. Ogando swings to the corner. Nothing there. Back to Ward. 3 by Ogando. Won't go, and they're going to call a foul. Isaac Ogando is fouled behind the arc. He'll go to the line and shoot 3. The Mustang foul is called against number 33, Malachi Hampton. That's his second personal foul, and the team's 4th. Two of 2. One more still coming for Ogando. And it's good. So 3 of 3. Mustangs will be penalized in the most severe way for that foul. Roberson goes to the corner, barely pulled in by Malachi. To the paint. And a little short from Caballero. Rebound goes to Ogando. Double team pressure coming on in the backcourt. Patriots get it down there. Checking into the game for Brantley, Declan McFadden. Isaiah Laster is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Foul is called against number 1. Machai Campbell on the push. That's his first personal foul. And the team's 4th. First free throw is a miss. Mustangs with a missed opportunity there at the free throw line. Hugh Roberson for 3. Patriot basket by Machai Campbell. Push is called against number 13, Jaden Ward. That's his third personal foul, the team's fifth. Q Roberson to the hole for two. And that takes us to the end of the third period. It's an 11-point ball game at the end of 24 minutes. 39-28 is your score with 8 minutes left to play. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Patriots get the first possession of the fourth quarter. 8 minutes left to go here. Mustangs with a pretty good first three quarters. A few things to work on for Coach Lubin during the interim between now and their first real game at the Metro versus Florida Challenge right after the Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, Mark, that certainly was a very strong third quarter. Took a 4-point lead all the way to 11. Robertson having a hand there at the end of the third quarter. Of course, Wekiva forced the turnover, got the ball to Robertson with about a minute left, and then he got the layup on the very last possession. That took a 3-possession game all the way, again, up to 11.
Foul's called against Mustangs, number 4, Q Roberson. That's his third.
I have him on 2.
So looking at the stats here, Mark, at the end of three quarters, nothing's really changed. Again, Wekiva's had some spots where they shot the ball really well, a couple where they got like 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6, but overall shooting about 36%. They are 15 of 36, 9 of 20 from 2-point range, 6 of 16 from 3-point range. Again, it's about 36%, but compared to Lake Brantley, they look like world champions. Lake Brantley only 10 of 41.
Foul called against number 23, Julian Belter, is second, the team's sixth.
That's a 25%. 27 rebounds for both teams. Neither team has really gone to the free throw line much. 7 for Lake Brantley, 6 have been converted. Wekiva 3 of 5. Turnovers 10 for Wekiva and 8 for Lake Brantley. Important to point out too, though, Mark, Lake Brantley only had 4 turnouts through the first 2 periods. They totaled that with 4 in 1 period, that third period. So again, Mark, really turnovers was the key and why Wekiva was able to open up a 4-point lead to 11.
Declan McFadden for 3 on the pass from Julian Belter.
And that all started as soon as Coach Lubin called for the man-to-man full-court defense. Wekiva's played man-to-man the whole game. but they went to the full court part of it about halfway through the third quarter.
Roberson is short. Van den Driesch on the rebound. Klinger doesn't have anything in the paint. He'll go back out to Belter. Tries to get down the baseline, and he does. Julian Belter comes up with the basket.
A smart timeout.
And we will
there.
pause for a timeout. Full timeout requested by the Mustangs. And we'll be right back. And we are getting ready to come back to live action here at Mustang Arena. You see here Coach Lubin coaching his team as the Patriots have cut the lead to 5. We've got 6 minutes to go here before we call this one. And the Mustangs, of course, won their first game without a whole lot of resistance from the Lyman Greyhounds. This one, Patriots, as we expected, putting up a fight. The Apopka Blue Darters barely escaped with a victory over them 2 nights ago on Tuesday, and the Mustangs are going to see if they can't finish out the preseason Classic 2-0. Of course, these games don't actually count on the real record, but it still provides a lot of great momentum going into the final moments before the season officially begins. And again, that'll be next week. The Mustangs will open up the season at Wekiva, at Apopka, at their annual Metro versus Florida Challenge event. Wekiva is actually the second game. They'll be representing the 20 teams of the Orlando Metro Conference. Julian Belter draws the foul. He'll be at the line to shoot for the Patriots. The Mustang foul is called on number 10, Isaiah Laster. That's his first personal foul tonight, and it's the team's 6th.
A good job there by Lake Brantley getting that ball up the court quickly and really forcing Wekiva to try to play defense while moving. They never were able to get set. That's the whole team, not one particular player. So, Mark, what was an 11-point lead has been whittled down to 3 here. Again, Wekiva not really turning the ball over with a lot of frequency, just not making some good decisions. Couple of bad shot selection choices.
Jamaric Hammond from Caballero for 2.
A much-needed field goal there from Wekiva.
A good motion there. Nice pass by Caballero to set that up. Well-designed play.
Yeah, again, excellent inside-outside movement there. They actually added a second inside there, getting that ball back to Hammond. Hammond doing a good job, too, of giving a good angle to receive that pass. So an opportunity here for Wekiva to rebuild that lead.
Stokes will shoot from right where he is. Doesn't go. Rebounds to Ogando.
Again, this is the preseason, and that's exactly what this game has looked like. Some stretches of very fluidic, polished play by both teams.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Q Roberson.
But we've also had some very ugly-looking play as well from period to period. Again, entering this period, Wekiva was shooting 15 of 36. Obviously a percentage nothing to write home about, 36%. However, compared to Lake Brantley, certainly looked like world championship status. Lake Brantley shooting 10 of 41, 25%. So now Wekiva looking to be a little bit more deliberate with their set here.
Yep, and at this point, I mean, the Mustangs are only up by 5, so you don't want to depend on the clock too much, but the urgency is really more on Wekiva. No baskets. The Mustangs called timeout first. 30-second timeout requested by Wekiva. Well, that's one of those moments where you go, dough as a coach, but you can't see that coming, and some days you get burned.
If only we had a crystal ball there.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
So the good news, Mark, is Wekiva maintains possession of the ball.
Right, so they'll at least get another chance to see if they can make that magic happen again.
As we mentioned before the timeout, Wekiva is at a more deliberate, methodical pace and flow here in this fourth quarter.
And they will not repeat that magic. Instead, they will turn the ball over. Oh, boy. Push is called against number 34, Jack Klinger. That's his third personal foul, the team's 7th. Oh, and that is going to be considered an offensive foul, and so therefore no shots. No strike that. It was a loose ball foul, and so we will go to the line and shoot 1-1.
So again, preseason for everybody there. The refs changing the initial call.
Who's that foul? It was on red 34. It's the same foul. We just needed to shoot. Hey, box out!
Edouard at the free throw line. Haven't had much time to talk about the individual players. We of course mentioned not only tonight but against Lyman. Nobody on this roster saw significant time last year. Only 3 players returning. But nonetheless, Nikel is a power forward. He's a junior, 6'2". Nice stroke there. Gets both free throws, much needed free throws. Increases the lead to 3 possessions with 3:15 left. And now Wekiva remaining in man-to-man. They have yet to play anything else this season as we approach 3 minutes. And good defense there.
Yeah, that was a tough one because Q Roberson is a lot shorter than Jack Klinger, who, by the way, has 10 rebounds tonight, and that should come as a surprise to no one.
Just forced the shot to be taken there really off balance in the air, leaning backwards into the side as opposed to forward.
Caballero nearly loses the ball to Belter.
So 2.5 minutes left here, Mark. And despite the trials and tribulations of Wekiva, they have created a position for them to be able to win this ball game.
Checking into the game for the Patriots, number 10, Garrett Howe.
And again, as we mentioned, getting a basket 2 possessions ago was huge for Wekiva. Big difference between a 2-possession lead and a 3-possession lead.
And a full timeout is requested and granted to the Patriots. Lake Brantley calls timeout.
He gets 2 fulls and 3 30s, right?
2.5 left.
Mark.
They get 2 fulls and 3 30s, right?
3 fulls, 2 30s.
3 fulls, okay.
2 fulls and 1:30 seconds timeout remaining for the Patriots. 2 full timeouts remaining for the Mustangs. Neither team with a foul to give. Shooting bonus both ways now. Patriots are led by Declan McFadden with 10 points. Jack Klinger has 8 points and 10 rebounds. Mustangs, Nikhil Edouard leads scoring with 11 points and 2 rebounds. Q Roberson has 8 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist behind him. All right, so we are back to live action for the last 2.5 minutes of this ball game. Still not out of reach for the Patriots, but they got to make something happen pretty quick here.
Yeah, and during that timeout, Coach Lubin really harped. It was all about positioning.
Foul called against Taseo Caballero, his first, the team's 7th, and Jack Klinger will shoot 2.
So not only was Coach Lubin talking about positioning as far as where you want to put the body, but how the body is positioned in relation to the basket. He stressed, keep your eyes straight forward facing the basket, make sure you square up with your shoulders, and make sure that you're properly spaced. And of course, no sooner does he say that than Wekiva gives up an offensive rebound, commits a foul in the process.
Delay of game warning called on the Patriots. Of course, first one is free in high school ball. If you do it again, it's a technical foul.
And now we're seeing Lake Brantley go with full court man-to-man for the first time tonight. Again, mentioned in that third quarter, Wekiva, Coach Lubin's decision to go full court man-to-man really gave them the points that they now have for the lead. Scored 7 consecutive points. We have a 5-point lead as we dip under 2 minutes.
Up to Edouard at the top of the arc. Mustangs kind of slowing it down a little bit, not trying to make anything happen in transition, not trying to force anything. They want a good shot selection here. They don't want to take any low percentage shots. They know how they're doing on rebounding. And with a 5-point advantage, they don't have to, but that was an unforced error. Jack Klinger gets the dunk and will also be called for a technical foul.
Ooh. Well, that's a kick to the gut there for Lake Brantley.
That's his 4th personal foul and the team's 8th. Shooting the technical free throws for the Mustangs will be number 4, Q Roberson.
So now these are key free throws. Obviously, an opportunity to get the lead back up. Basket counts, right? Opportunity to reestablish a 5-point lead. However, you now have 4 fouls with 1.5 minutes left. Both are good.
So the net result is an exchange of 2 points for 2 points and possession. So if anything, the Mustangs came out ahead on that exchange.
It's 45-40.
Yeah, and the ball was put in Robertson's hand. Coach Lubin put his trust in Robertson. Robertson comes through. 2 beautiful free throws there. And now Wekiva
So if you're curious what's going on there, well, we'll have to wait for the next one. Foul is called against number 1, Machai Campbell. That's the second personal foul, the team's 9th. At the line shooting 1-on-1 will be Isaiah Laster. I have 9.
So as you mentioned, Mark, not only does Wekiva get the 2 free throws, but probably even more important is they maintain possession of the ball. And you see the result here with Laster going to the free throw line.
So what I started to say a moment ago, so where the technical foul came in, making a slam dunk in high school is absolutely not against the rules. However, hanging onto the rim is. Hanging onto the rim is considered an unsportsmanlike conduct foul unless it can't be avoided for safety reasons. And the referee's judgment there is that it was not necessary for him to hang onto the rim. It was grandstanding, and that's why he got called for the technical foul.
And what's most important now, Mark, of course, is the scoreboard. After all is said and done on that exchange there of about 30 seconds, Wekiva has a 7-point, 3-possession lead.
Declan McFadden gets the jump shot for the Patriots. That closes it back to a 5-point game. We'll pause for a Patriot timeout. 30-second timeout requested by Brantley.
And you really see the importance here, Mark. You throw out those 2 technical free throws, you're looking at a 1-possession game instead of 2.
We'll be right back.
What?
All right, we're back. We got $1:04 left on the clock. And we're going to get a loose ball foul. If it's against Lake Brantley, then it's going to be double bonus.
And it is, Mark.
Okay, who called that last time out?
Foul is called against number 23, Julian Belter. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 10th, and Q Roberson will shoot double bonus.
And here's where that technical also comes into play as far as the weight. That technical foul does count on the overall fouls. So you would be looking at single bonus instead of double bonus on this trip down. Robertson, of course, drained the 2 free throws for that technical. Does the same again. And the lead's back up to 7 points, 3 possessions.
Oh, a bad pass there. He should have just taken that. Too clever by half.
Yeah, outthought the room there, trying to get too fancy, making the bounce pass. Probably should have just taken it to the hoop himself.
Foul called again against Julian Belter. That's now his 4th personal foul. At the line, shooting double bonus. Once again, Q Roberson. And the Mustangs' best free throw shooter tonight will again be at the line. And he rings true once again.
Yep. It's been a constant here for about the last 2 minutes. Robertson 5 of 5 from the free throw line.
Well, we'll give him a pass on one. Mustangs up by 8, 45 ticks left on the clock. 3 for Julian Belter.
And Lake Brantley again, full court, man-to-man. Wekiva's done an excellent job of getting that ball in. Quick decisions, not only as far as passing the ball in, but who and where on the court. Really taking advantage of the angles.
Checking into the game for Brantley, Machai Campbell and Jaden Ward.
Oh, horrible play there. Again, I guess you could chalk it up to inexperience in preseason.
Machai Campbell is fouled on the attempt to go to the line and shoot 2. The foul called against Isaiah Laster. That's his 2nd, the team's 8th.
So not only does Wekiva make the mistake of throwing the ball on the inbound pass right to Lake Brantley, telegraphing the pass as well, but then a mistake is committed in the fact that they commit the foul, and we got a couple of free throws. That
and now an opportunity to make this a 1-possession game, but it bounces out, which is a huge advantage for Wekiva. Brantley's going to have to foul here as long as Wekiva doesn't do anything silly.
Well, Wekiva dodges a proverbial bullet there big time.
Red 23, that's his 5th. He's out.
The foul is called against number 23, Julian Belter. That's his 5th personal foul. He'll retire from the game with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. At the line, shooting double bonus, Q Roberson.
Boy, how familiar that name has come. So now, of course, you like to make both free throws here, but the advantage for Wekiva is if Robertson makes one, that's huge because it makes it a 5-point game, 5-point lead, which means at some point in the last 20.8 seconds, Lake Brantley's going to have to get a 3-point field goal.
And he does.
So now Lake Brantley's got to move that ball up the court quickly. Under 20 seconds here.
Basket is made by Machai Campbell, and the Patriots will spend a full timeout. Full timeout taken by Lake Brantley. That'll leave them with one. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 10.6 seconds to go. Mustangs up by 3. They'll have the ball. Expect Lake Brantley to foul immediately when they throw it in here.
Full court, man-to-man by Lake Brantley. There's your foul, Mark.
Actually, they took a couple seconds longer than I thought they would for that. Foul called against number 13, Jaden Ward. That's his 4th personal foul. At the line, shooting double bonus, Nikhil Edouard.
So Edouard on the spot here. Of course, again, like to get both of them, but if you can make one, that's a huge, huge benefit for
we've only seen him at the line once tonight. He's 2 for 2, though.
So if you make one of these two, you got a 4-point and 2-possession lead.
Short.
And again, maybe a couple minutes ago, it's not that big a deal, but with only 8.6 seconds left, you're going to get maybe one more, maybe 2 possessions at the most likely just 1. So here we go. Perhaps the most critical free throw attempt of the game. Need to get that lead back up to 2 possessions.
And they do.
Much easier breathing now for Wekiva. Lubin hauls off the horses, says no foul. And curious.
That takes us to the end of the ball game. It's a nail biter. Patriots making it an interesting game all the way to the final seconds, but the Mustangs will finish up with a 2-0 record here at the Preseason Classic. 52-48 is your final score here at Mustang Arena. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for those of you in the arena for coming out to support your Mustang and Patriot athletes. Please drive carefully and arrive home safely and have a great night. For those of you who tuned in online, thanks for joining us on the NFHS Network or our YouTube live channel, Wekiva Sports. We hope that we will see you often over the course of the 2019-20 basketball season. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Wekiva Sports, and bookmark WekivaMustangs.com for all of your scores, schedules, and more. Well, Neil, we had a real nail-biter here. 52-48 the final. Patriots kept it interesting, never gave up the ghost, and it was a game all the way to the last possession. But the Mustangs, I think, got some confidence tonight and learned some important lessons. And we certainly saw some better stamina and focus from them than we saw in the first game against Lyman. Rebounding is going to be, I think, one of the key takeaways that the Mustangs are going to have to work on. And they are going to face a tough opponent in the opening contest, or actually the second contest of the Metro versus Florida Challenge. They'll have the Masters Academy Eagles coming up next Wednesday at 11 a.m. to open up the regular season.
Yeah, Mark, again, really you want to use the preseason for what you just mentioned there. The turning point of this game, though, was the last 3 minutes of the first half, the first 3 minutes of the second half. Wekiva scored 12 consecutive points, 6 points on both sides of the half. And that really, they shot about 80% during that period, taking, I believe, 6 of 8. Again, you know, we're a high school operation, so we don't have anybody keeping the stats. But going by memory there, I can't really stop and count it up. But if memory serves me, I believe they were 6 of 8 or 7 or 9 or something during that stretch, and that carried them to the victory. I would like to mention, though, too, when Lake Brantley cut it down, and you mentioned this, Wekiva did a very good job. Wekiva did a very good job of getting the baskets, just enough to maintain that 2-possession lead and force Lake Brantley to perhaps attempt some things they didn't want to do. At the top of that list is they really needed to pick up the pace, and it just felt like Lake Brantley either was not aware of the fact they needed to pick up the pace, or they just didn't know how to. They hadn't practiced it. Again, that was really, it wasn't necessarily the prettiest way to do it, but they got those baskets coming down those last 3 or 4 minutes to make the possession. Also like to point out, we did also mention it during the game, Robertson was huge, making, I believe it was 6 of 8 free throws in those last 2.5 minutes.
That is correct, and the Mustangs were 14 of 19 overall. So while there are some things that you can criticize, like the offensive rebounds where Mustangs had just 7, or the 15 turnovers that the Mustangs had over the course of the game, one of the great things you can point to is 14 of 19, that's 74% from the free throw line. That's not bad. The field goal percentage overall was nearly 40% for the Mustangs at 39, and the other thing that you have to give them some credit for, Lake Brantley was definitely not hot shooting tonight. Some of that certainly attributable to the Mustangs' defense. Lake Brantley shot just 30%, so they were 10% less than Wekiva. 16% from the 3 range. They were 4 of 25. And so you see from their shot selection, they selected a 2-point attempt 28 times, a 3-point attempt 25 times. Mustangs doing a good job of keeping them out of the inside, keeping them out of those high percentage shots, making them take 25 shots from a range where the Patriots were only shooting 16%. And so I think that really is something the Mustangs can take away as something to build on going into the regular season.
Yeah, and also, Mark, as you mentioned, Wekiva actually shot 40%. They were only shooting about 35% for about 3.5 quarters. So that goes back to what I was saying. In those last 3 minutes or so, Wekiva wasn't always pretty, but they were able to come up with the baskets they needed. The shot selection, as far as getting open looks, got a lot better in that last 3 minutes. So that, again, obviously a sign overall, which is very good, is the fact that they raised the field goal percentage. But even breaking it down to a more specific level, you don't raise your field goal percentage by 5 or 6% in a 3-minute period without getting some good looks. This really, again, as you just mentioned in the stats, to sum it up in a more specific, it was a game of Wekiva's still learning, I guess, how to handle the ball, keep possession of the ball. They really did not do a good job through the first 3.5 quarters, possession-wise, compared to Lake Brantley's poor code field goal percentage. For most of the game, Lake Brantley was under 30%. They did actually bring it up to a little bit in their last 3 minutes. But Wekiva, my point going back to the field goal percentage is that Wekiva shot 40%, which is nothing spectacular, but compared to Lake Brantley shooting in the 20s, about 25% for most of the game, that still is a very comparable statistic in Wekiva's favor, and that played a huge part too. Of course, when you get that difference in the field goal percentage, that kind of opens up a lot of other things, and again, that goes back to the last 3 minutes when Wekiva was able to put together those baskets they needed and get some better looks in order to score those baskets.
Well, we'll leave it there for tonight, Neil. It's been a pleasure as always. We're getting ready to do the Metro versus Florida Challenge next week. Even though Neil and I are the house announcers for Wekiva, we do have a partnership with Apopka to take on a lot of those games that are in the Metro versus Florida Challenge. So you'll be hearing a lot from us next week, although it will be on the Metro versus Florida channel on YouTube rather than the Wekiva Sports channel. And then we'll be ready to bring you a lot of home games over the course of the 2019-20 season for both boys and girls basketball. So thanks for tuning in so much tonight. My thanks to Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief joining me for tonight's game. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs. Good night from Mustang Arena.